Ulonga tabati yada to ye kuma da ifa. Inu to ye ko je love bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Zongo eshu, ogun oya Osun. Kini sheshe, tan she nile yo. O jelo jara.
Alapia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Orisagbemi, and today we're joined by none other than our distinguished community elder, also known as the Oba Oloye Baba IFA Karade. Alapia, Baba, how you doing? Peace and blessings to you, Baba.
Lafia, peace and blessings to you too, my brother. Ibukun, blessings. All right, and to all of the good people out there, We say one love, Orisha people. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Aje Nation, huh? Okay.
Yes, sir. Aje Nation.
Right.
Aje Tribe, Karade Nation. Everybody, man, we're gonna make this thing do what it do. We're gonna make it do what it do, baby. We're gonna make it do what it do.
Right. Oh,
yes, sir.
keep it going.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the tribe already in the building. Shout out to brother and Kosi. What's good with your family? Appreciate you joining us. Pacific Dogwood, Lafayette Need family. Appreciate you joining us. Like boy, I told Lafayette Need to the tribe. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to the new family members. We got I think about 3 or 4 new ones this week. Shout out to Bro Consu, I think, who signed up last week on the live. Shout out to there's a couple more, Mr. Rodriguez, and I forgot that there's a few more who signed up. But shout out to everybody who joined the tribe, the private community. I'm working on finishing up this week's call, actually. So I'm just trying to figure out which day we're going to do the call. I want to say I'm thinking Thursday or Friday we'll do the private community call, to really get this thing cracking, man. So I appreciate all of y'all who's joining us. And then also we'll be having the previous shows will be going up this week as well. The previous private community calls will be going up this week on top of the one that I'm working on now, the presentation for this week's private call. I should have that presentation done shortly so we can get this thing cracking this week. By the end of the week, no later than this weekend. I'll let y'all know, keep y'all posted. So shout out to everybody who, tapping in, man. We appreciate it. And we got a lot in store. Baba and I are wrapping up the last things that we need to do for the OGC Institute, which we're excited about that. And for the tribe members who are already a part of the community, we got our Slack channel up and running. So once I get reacclimated with Slack, which I haven't used in a while, y'all will be getting the invites. And for the YouTube subscribers, families, I'm going to send a post in our private communities to get everybody's email addresses if I don't have. So that way I can send y'all the invite to the private Slack channel so we can all chop it up, in the Slack channel as well. So that'll kind of keep us connected when we're not doing the live streams or when we don't have any of the other official YouTube business. We still can kind of build and chop it up behind the scenes in the private community Slack channel. So with that, we got all the community announcements and the channel announcements and the appreciations and the celebrations, and we're ready to get this thing cracking bye-bye and to start some veneration, venerating the Queen Mother, the mother of all Orisha, Yemoja. So Baba, what you got for us, Baba?
Try to keep it as real as I possibly can. And it's a great day, discussing the antiquity of the maternal essence, the mother,
Sure.
Which has come to be represented through time and historical challenges to the whom we know as Yemoja, Yemaya, Yemoja. Okay, however the dialect brings it, into the Ofo Ashe, the power of the word, the power of the invocation. The spirit clearly responds, regardless of the dialect or the accent. So at times you may even hear me kind of flip like, well, Yemoja, Yemaja, Yemaya. Okay, but all in all, we know we're speaking of Yeye, Omo Eja. Ye Omo Eja. Ye meaning the mother, and even more so, the mother of mothers. Okay, ye we use that in terms of our grandmothers, but and in this respect, we're dealing with the mother of all, and now in this case, Omo children and Eja fish. So ye Omo Eja. The mother of the children of fish. Now, what I find interesting about it, as a sort of a backstory, is that there are the Omoeja within the Ifa construct, and these children of the fishes, okay, were said to be very spiritually inclined. They were said to have, a greater than kind of presence in the water as well as in the world, and they were said to have uh, deep psychic abilities, I want to say, but I'll rest more so on a deep commune with nature. Okay, so these children of the fishes, okay, were somehow genetically uh, prone to be a little different in a very natural kind of way. So even when we look at, ye omo ja, and we see children of the fishes, there are various types of interpretations and connections that can be made based on one's PKB, their prior knowledge base. So me personally, having that prior knowledge base of this genetically kind of enhanced group of babies who grow up, within the given region, within the given geographical areas. Okay, and it's like, okay, so here comes Yemoja, who wasn't prior to the 1500s in the quote unquote new world, the Orisha of the sea. Okay. Yemoja did not become the Orisha of the sea in reverence and in holding on to, as one might call the seven African powers that we find in the syncretisms of Lukumi and Santeria and Candomblé, So we have Yemoja rising more powerfully as the Orisha of the oceans than we had Yemoja prior to the enslavement of our people, and the trafficking of our people across the Atlantic. Because the Olokun was the Orisha of the oceans, and Yemoja was said to be Olokun's daughter, which we could kind of relate to, because like with Oya being the river Orisha / goddess, the river goddess, okay, so was Yemoja. Yemoja was originally the river goddess of what is now known as the Ogun River. Okay, so we see through time how we adapt. We see through situations, how we recreate ourselves and how we hold on to what we can and blend together, and then take that little and make it into something greater than the sum of its parts. But for we who are into Ifa Isheshe more so from the African side than the syncretism side. Okay? I'm not saying one is better or worse than the other. I'm just saying that there are different ways of gaining and giving to our ancestral reality, and it is very vast. Okay, so I'm not even trying to say that they're the right way and the wrong way. I'll leave that to other people. But I do know that prior to our enslavement and trafficking and being trafficked to, let's just say, uh, Brazil, okay, by the Portuguese during the early 1500s, that Yemoja did not exist before as the goddess of the ocean. Okay, she became that out of necessity. Again, prior to that, it was stated that our belief factor from various regions within a Nigeria state, from Abeokuta to Ile Ife, that Yemoja again was a river goddess. Okay, so that said, Baba Orisagbemi, I just wanted to give a little part of the backstory so that everyone kind of understands that I'm not, coming from the syncretism of, like some people, well, when's her day and what Catholic saint is it? I peacefully, and humbly state that that's not the path that I'm on. And that information can be Googled. Okay. I mean, to be right honest with you. Okay.
Yeah.
But very few people discuss who say that they're into Ifa and Isheshe without, the Catholicism. Again, not saying one's right or one's wrong, but if we're in it without the syncretism, then it behooves us to grasp what was happening prior to the enslavement. Okay. And so we just don't say we're about one thing, but we keep regurgitating, what we say we're not about, but we're really doing what we say we're not about. And we're not going any further than the confines of what we had to majestically and creatively develop under the horror of and the trauma of our enslavement in this new world. Okay, so I mean, at this point, I don't want to just keep going on and on because it gets deep, brother. It gets deep.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Any comments or statements?
Yeah, I think right now the tribe just popping up, showing out, doing what they do, and just showing showing love and everybody reading each other. But I did want to give another shout out to the rest of the members of the tribe that joined. So shout out to Doris, Miranda, Mr. Rodriguez, Brother Kansu, Ekundayo. Shout out to the family for joining. We appreciate the love and support, family, and shout out to the good brother EY Pele movement. Appreciate you stopping through, family. And showing love and support as well. It's always appreciated, tribe. So we definitely appreciate all of y'all. And then Baba, there's a lot that goes into this dynamic of Yemoja, and I can't remember the supporters, the tribe members' name who made the recommendation. But shout out to you too, and I apologize for not having it written down, but I want to give you a shout out for even, posing this topic, because it is something that we haven't hit in depth yet. So it's, I think it's right on time, because we have been paying homage and reverence to the mothers. But with that, Baba, I've been seeing, in my studies and research in regards to the tradition, there's a lot of, I guess, maybe, I don't want to call it symbolism or syncretism, because I don't really see it as that. But there's a lot of different dialogue in regards to the relationship between Yemoja and Olokun. And then I've read where back in Antiquity, Olokun was just the deity of the ocean. And then kind of through the diasporic, Ma'afa, she kind of got put into that role. So it's like now there's also other texts and other resources and information out there that speaks about how Yemoja is to be considered more so, I would say, like the ocean that's closer, to land, or that, is like within not the deep depths of the ocean, but the ocean in general. But then as you go deep into the depths of the ocean, and for those who have been on a cruise before, when you get so far out, you don't see anything but water, every which direction you look, whether north, south, east, west, it's nothing but water. Then I've read also and studied that would be considered the land or the area of the ocean that would be considered to be, I guess, attributed to Olokun, of course, in the depths, of the ocean as well. So based off of you having I feel like your information is more from the source, being someone who was brought in under the full, Isheshe initiation and teachings. How would you kind of differentiate between the two in regards to Yemoja and Olokun and the ocean's territories per se?
Well, that's a very profound statement, brother, and it does demonstrate how vast interpretations can become. Because depending on who you are, where you are, and when you are, you have the capacity. And when I say you, the group of you, okay, can determine, okay, how symbolically this Ashe is going to be an empowering statement in our lives. Okay. Now, say there's people who were flown over here as opposed to the ocean. Then there may not have been such a great, change. You see, and because Olokun was basically the the Orisha of the oceans amongst the royalty, not amongst the kind of everyday people. And the mudfish, which was the symbol of Olokun, was basically a royal stamp, so to speak, So you had the royalty who worshipped, and I'll put that word in quotes, who gave homage, who propitiated Olokun, because you got to remember, people were sailing and charting the seas, long before the Europeans came on the scene. So Olokun has that sense of commerce, that sense of wealth, that sense of striving to gain and bring in, was well amongst those who were well to do. But say you lived inland, say you lived closer to rivers and not the ocean, you see. So your whole, concept and your faith factors they're going to be different than the people who live right next to the ocean, or even more so, who went out into the ocean. So it would not be incorrect to say that Yemoja, to many people, would represent the higher levels of the ocean, and to others, in conjunction, and not even struggling between one or the other. Say, okay, well, the deeper you go, the more Olokun you get.
Right.
But everybody thought that way initially.
Right.
You see, but we change. Our views change. Our faith really doesn't change. And I use faith and religion, always in quotes, because it means so many different things to so many different people. But our practice and our involvement changes based on what we've come to know and what we've come to experience. I think a lot of people reflect on too much that they know and not enough that they experience. And then knowing isn't even cross-reference. It's just somebody said, or I read it in this book. But then you read another book that says something else, or you go someplace else and somebody says something else. And all the while, the box gets smaller. You know, my war cry is the box should get larger. And we come to understand that there's no one or the other, it's one and the other. And then we start to see a unifying principle. You know, we kind of go beyond the words and into the conceptualization of the word. As I shared with you earlier, you our listeners, is that there were these children, you know, and they were said to be the children of the fishes. They were Yemoja, and they were known to be very acclimated towards the water, you know. So we kind of dismissed the fact that we had genetic mutations going on within our people, you know, since the beginning. You know? And I'm not saying that they were, super, or, the way that we perceive mutations. And maybe that's a harsh word to use under the English, definition. But just like there are people who were born who could run fast, and people who were born who could do this and that, the genetic principle was alive and well. But see, we don't think about that. And we don't think about it because we're all stuck into this little box that says this is how you be religious, or this is how you be a worshiper. This is how you be this. And I'm sharing with you that our ancestors and the people who developed Isheshe and developed Ifa were light years beyond that.
Yes, that's it.
Light years beyond it. But we seem to have difficulty believing that, and we're kind of storybook bound. Okay. And a lot of it has to do with how we're raised in school, how we're raised in church, how we're raised in the masjid, and it becomes that's the way. But Ifani Sheshe is saying no. Why you bringing the baggage in when it you say we shouldn't need to leave that at the door.
Right.
But that's the hard part of Ifani Sheshe.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part. Yeah. But that's what all my initiations have led to. So Yemoja can be the top, to your point, and Olokun can be the bottom, to people who kind of grasp that. But there are other people who say, no, like in Ife, and again, I'm Yokuta and all of that. Yemoja is the river goddess. She don't have, if she got anything to do with the ocean, it's because she's Olokun's daughter.
Yeah.
But it's not problematic.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, I get it. And no, I get it, and I'm glad that you not just how you're breaking it down. I'm glad to the tribe who posed, like I said, the issue to bring this topic and bring this guidance to light, and I'm grateful for it, because what I've also seen, and I got a couple of questions now. Tribe got questions and comments, so I'll share those. But what I've also seen too, especially in regards to divination, I know you definitely could speak to this, is like there's several different odus where it speaks about children who maybe, let's say for example, I think the one I've probably seen the most is like usually children of Oshun, or who Oshun has a heavy influence on. They usually sometimes are also considered to kind of be like children, not necessarily children of Yemoja, but they should appease both of them the same. So if they do one for one, they should do one for the other. So they kind of what I saw in those dudes is like the goddesses of where the two rivers meet or the two waters meet. You know what I mean? In regards to Oshun and Yemoja, or even Oya and Yemoja. But I've seen it primarily with the Oshun and Yemoja. I think it's in a couple of verses in either Od or Oshe, if I'm not mistaken. That I've seen that. But where does the is it something that is a common thing for someone to be influenced by both? You know, or maybe like Yemoja and Oshun or Yemoja and Oya? Or is that something that happens commonly, or is it something that, you know, is just based upon whatever maybe is going on in the environment of that particular person?
All right. Well, underline depends on the environment. Okay. Now, what we're able to pull in is that it's not that common. You know, the Oshun folks are over there, you know, in Oshobo. You know what I mean? They're doing the Oshun thing in the Oshun River and all of that. Now, again, you have Yemoja at the Ogun River. Okay. And just like you have Oya at the Niger River. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about the question that you pose is this. Okay. Is that amongst those who hold Yemoja as the divinity of their faith, of their whom are her worshipers, I'll put it to you that way. You know, they state that due to certain situations, there was a woman by the name of Molejewu. Molejewu was back in the ancient times. Molejewu was, you know, a very powerful woman, you know, like Shango was a powerful, you know, like an Ogun was a powerful. All right. So there was a certain situation that happened that wasn't going down too well between her and some menfolk. And she fell. You know, she literally fell. Now, the question is, did she cause herself to fall? Was she pushed? That's conversation for another day. But when she fell, water sprang from her body. And those waters that sprang from her body, okay, created the rivers. So that said, Yemoja is the mother of the rivers. And to extend it, the mother of all of the Orisha. Okay. Because from her traumatic experience, when she fell, the waters from her created the rivers. Right? Now, let's look at this. Okay. When a woman gives birth, how could our ancestors not have seen, not have made correlations, connections, interpretations of what comes forth from a woman when she gives birth? The amniotic fluids, okay, the water that comes forth, and not associate that with a river. It's how could we not have? You know, as we're studying the science, not just of medicine, but the science of existence. Okay. That's how we got the Oya Shango connection. You remember when the thunderstorms came, the Niger River rises and the Oya. So you put the two together, you personify it, you anthropomorphize it, and now you have the divinities. And now you have individuals who seem to walk in that way. And now you say, okay, well, that's an Oya, that's a Shango, but at the end of the day, it's just manifestations of nature. I mean, at the end of the day. Okay, so now Yemoja becomes the seat of pregnancy. Yemoja becomes the ovarian. You know, Yemoja becomes the umbilical. You know, Yemoja nurtures the child and the amniotic fluid. So when that happens and birth occurs, then the world takes on a newness every time, in which each newness there's an Orisha. Okay. And with each coming forth, it's not the Olokun, it's not the sea. Olokun was never said to be the Orisha of pregnancy.
Yeah.
But how can we not again connect pregnancy, the forming of a child inside of the mother's womb at some point looks like a fish.
Yeah, but shout out to Bro Consul because he was speaking that in the comments. That's,
Yeah.
that's
He was right. He was right there. We were neck and neck, man.
Yeah.
So if I'm one of the women or part of the women who are the midwives, okay, and I start to notice this either by accident, you know, the woman falls, or we have to cut open. We were doing cesarean sections long before Caesar, okay?
Right.
That's where the cesarean, you know, it's like, come on, this is old school stuff. But there are times, perhaps an accident, you know, people are taking notes and like, well, at this point, this child it's not, you know, truly formed, or if there was a premature birth, you know, and we start to see the correlation between the development of the child inside of the uterus to being inside a fish inside of the water. It's not too hard to put two and two together if you put two and two together.
Yeah.
But we don't think like that. We don't think like that. And it's not because we can't think like that. It's because we're not set on that path to think like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're still sky goddish. You know, we're still all out there. But the Orisha, like your existence is the very essence of Ifa initiation. That pregnant mother is Yemoja. And when she gives offerings to Yemoja, she's strengthening her Yemojaness.
Oh yeah.
You know? And so that to me is crucial, is critical. And that's how we, you know, expand our consciousness to grasp the fact that symbolically this Orisha is the mother of the rivers, and subsequently the mother of the Orishas.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's deep, Baba. And another tribe member got a comment. Brother Wale said when fresh water and river water lakes meet with salt water from the ocean, it creates brackish water, you know, which is the esoterics where the rivers meet the sea are well known examples of brackish water. That's spot on, Brother Wale. With that, Baba, I got a couple other questions that I think it depends on who you ask, the type of answer you get. So I would like to definitely get your opinion and your perspectives on this one. But one is Olokun considered to be a male deity or a female deity? Because I've heard it both ways. Or would it be something more along the lines of like Baba Obatala, being both ambidextrous,
androgynous.
I thought, yeah,
So
androgynous.
no problem. Back in the day, as far as my cross-referencing and experiences have been, male.
Gotcha.
Okay. As far as the Odu that I've studied, male. Okay. Not androgynous. Matter of fact, had a couple of wives. Okay. So the whole, that was pretty well set. But I want to rewind just a little bit back to the whole springing forth and the the river, the water that comes through birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help but to recall one of the one of the chant songs to Yemoja. Yemoja, I say su, Yemoja, Yemoja, Olodo, Yemoja, Yemoja, Olodo, Yemoja. That becomes familiar. You recall, I see remembrance on your face. Okay.
Yeah, because I like that song's on there. Shout out to
Mhm.
well, first of all, shout out to Ifa Tola. I had her, and shout out to Baba Karade. I had both of them on earlier. We had dope podcast. I can't wait to get it edited up to put up for the family. But that song, she actually, I didn't even know, but she works with the artist Zion Trinity. And so that
Yeah.
song is on their album. I love their album, man. I be murdering that album, man. I be playing the hell out of it. So that song is on their album. That's where I know that song from
Okay.
from listening to
So,
the
okay, brother Deep. So we have Yemoja, which we know is Ye or Moeja. Okay.
Mhm.
And we have Ancestral, which is to gush forward, to bring forward. Okay. All right. Olodo, okay. Odo means river. Olo is the owner of the rivers, like Olo, you know what I mean? So
Mm,
Yemoja, Yemoja, who gushes forward, who pushes forward.
mhm.
Is the Yemoja Olodo. Okay. So even in the 10th song, she's still given homage to as a river Orisha.
Yes, sir.
You see? So it does get, again, a little uh depending on people who, let's say there's people who don't live close to a river. They may
Right,
not have the affinity that
right.
people who live close to the river, just like people who live to the sea.
Yeah.
Again, what we're trying to get people to understand, is that it's the singularity that makes the total picture, the totality, okay? As opposed to one single way is the way,
Yeah. That
you
part.
know? Yeah, it's incredibly immature to think that way, even about language. How many words do we use? Okay, Greco, Roman, okay, but then there's some Native American words in there. There's some African words that we use. You know what I mean? The language is a composite. There's a Sanskrit, Germanic. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
okay, but it's the same way how when people creatively bring their culture, to a level of adaptation, you know, and they
Mhm.
bring their instinct and they bring a consciousness beyond the confines of conditioning. We talked about that with Oshun, the last time, you know,
Mhm.
to embrace the vastness of existence, man. You know,
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's Moje Lewu, was the woman, like Shango was the man and Ogun was the man and Oshun was woman, but her name was Moleweju. She falls. She has, this gushing forth of water. Some people say from her breast, some people say from her abdomen, some people say from her vaginal, but wherever it was all coming from, it formed the rivers and formed the basis that brought all the Orisha together under one mother.
I say.
Under one mother. Okay.
I say.
Yeah, that was necessary, um, especially during the separation from our mothers during the Maafa,
Yeah.
especially separation from our grandmothers, you know, and especially with babies being torn from wombs and slaughtered, and we're witnessing this, you know, and especially when mothers are wailing because their children are being sold off, you know, to various labor camps throughout the countries, you know, and it happened right here in the United States as well. And the
Oh, yeah.
US does not get a pass. Okay.
Yep.
So, well, you know, we can start to understand why there had to be this greater mother that we could pour this all into, and then, you know, receive whatever semblance of nurturing that we could to survive all of this, to continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. And you know, just listening, like that brings me back to when I was in the dungeons, you know, on the Cape Coast in Ghana.
Mhm.
And I just remember, man, just standing there, like I was on this real huge, tall cliff of rocks, and just like looking over the ocean. And it was like, it was profound. I could just see and feel and taste like the energy in the air. And it was like, you know, it was beautiful. It was to the point where I had on regular street clothes, but shoot, I was like, I'm getting in this water. I came too far not to get in this water. So look, I kind of come up out of, you know what I'm saying, and just go in there with my good clothes. Not really good clothes, but you know, regular street clothes on. Yeah, I had to get up in that thing, man, because it was just like I'm not coming this far to not really be able to actually feel and embrace the energy of the Great Mother, man. So I got a bottle of the water sitting right here, you know, right on the shrine, man, because it's, you know, I want to connect with her directly. I'm open that bottle up, just, you know what I mean, or just dab a little bit on me or something, just to really feel that pure, you know, that Omitutu, you know, from the source, man. So it's definitely a profound, you know, energy and experience, you know, that goes along with, you know, the energy that's in the deities, whether it's, you know, on the continent or off, but I definitely felt it magnified, you know, being there on the continent. Very powerful experience.
Yeah, it is, you know, and come on, we need to have that mother essence, you know, the trauma that we suffered, you know, and that we're still suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And when the ears get together, and then the Yemoja-ness is magnified,
Mm-hmm.
then we take on the uh, the greater acceptance of our mothers.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
For
And
sure.
and we don't want to do it. I'll deal with that a little later.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so it's kind of imperative, you know, at least where I'm coming from, you know, to kind of see beyond the offerings and rituals, because again, like I said, people can Google that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, many offerings, and okay, her number is 7, and her colors are blue and white. Okay, all right, you know, we get that. Okay, and we need to get it in order to go a little bit deeper. But if we just stay there, which is kind of, you know, where I get a little tested, you know, is that people just want to stay, you know, there and you know, with colors and numbers, you know, which is cool. But you know, what else is going on? Okay. And what else did we have to do? Okay. What, you know, what else do we have to do with this?
Mm.
Now, I'm going to take it a little bit deeper,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because uh, a lot of people associate Yemoja with um, rape,
Mm.
okay? In some, and I'll say patakis because I have never found it in Odu,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where
Her and Ogun were incest.
yeah, you know,
I've heard that.
and that was reason for Ogun going into, you know, um, yeah, that whole thing. And then there's some of the statements, even within the Ida Ife Ifa, where, and the Yemoja women folk as the Gele, okay, who form the, you know, the power of women, you know, state emphatically that, you know, the Yemoja essence is the foundation of, and now we get into what you had I brought up to me in terms of discussing, and I kind of didn't want to, but now I feel as though I must, you know, with the Aje and the Iyami, you know, because these women went to Olodumare and stated that they were being, you know, somewhat mishandled and in some cases abused, and we can take that to the rape of women on the earth. And Olodumare heard their plea and gave them the ashe to defend themselves, basically.
Mad at it, man.
You know? And Olodumare would seem like, yeah, okay, well, you know, this is it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so these women gathered, you know, and they brought forth, you know, that cosmic essence, however anybody wants to put it, in order to compensate for their lack of physical
prowess.
Yeah. That the men would have. You know, they would not be able to, you know, as a whole. Now, of course, you would have your exceptions, but as a whole, women would have to succumb to the physical might of men.
Right.
You know? So you have the Galede, and you have Yemoja as the Iya, the Iyami, if you will, okay, of these societies. And again, part of the reason for these societies existing is to protect them from the madness and the might of men. And I can remember, you know, because see, this kind of knowledge becomes, you know, food for thought. It becomes prior knowledge base, but it also becomes a source for creative writing. It becomes a you know, a source that we kind of, you know, if I can say, you know, we kind of splash, you know, on and say, wow, this is a great concept. Because even in A Place of Nights, when the women are being taken by the enemy and then being, you know, literally being raped. And you know, they ask, when will the wars of men cease to be fought on the bodies of women? No. When will the wars of men cease to be fought on the bodies of women?
Wow, that's powerful.
But see, all of that comes out of this kind of study, you know. Yes, you were going to say, brother?
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was saying, Kosi and Ifa Sagun were really like 3 or 4 members of the tribe got phenomenal comments or questions. But Ifa Sagun was saying, does when you speak of Buluku, you know, he started thinking about A Place of Night. So he was wondering, does Buluku have any sort of, was it inspired by or any type of like symbolism or connection to Yemoja or Olokun, the character of Buluku?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So. Because again, where do we find Buluku? We find him in the deep waters. Not like Amina climbed the mountain, you know, and he's up in the sky, you know. And and you brought that up because see, now we're not only talking about the waters of pregnancy. We're talking about the waters of the brain, and now we're talking about going deep into the waters. It's going deep into the subconsciousness. Okay, and so we have all of these correlations to make. And I understand that, for the most part, people are interested in dance, song, offerings, sacrifices. But I'm here to say, that all that's good, but it's not all that there is. And that's not all that we need to relegate ourselves to, because, the Eurocentric has basically determined that we weren't, expanded thinkers. We weren't making these connections and correlations. I'm like, yes, we were.
I know that's right.
Yes, we were. We can't just sit back and be your entertainment. It's like, I was doing a report one time, and I said, well, I want to get some I Google kings of Africa, and the first thing that popped up is lions. Okay, so you see what we're dealing with here.
We're dealing with liars lying. That's what we're dealing with.
I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe it. And every time I try to look up something African, they make references to the biblical. I'm like, okay, I'm stopping this whole thing with this machine, and I'm getting my old books back out. I got Orisa selected, heads by John Mason. I got books that were out before computers. Okay.
Look, I got a couple of dope ones here with me today. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. I was saying, I got a couple of dope ones here with me today that I put into in my weekly study, man. Here go one right here. So I'm gonna give a shout out to this one on Front Street, live in living color, man. Because this one, I ain't gonna lie to you, Baba, I got a little emotional reading this book the other day. Like, real talk, man, because I thought about where, and I did. I was debating on whether or not I was gonna tell you that, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna tell him because in fact, I think it was last Friday after we got off the live. I picked two books I was going to read and research this week and kind of, just brush up and studies to try to stay sharp. But OGC spoke to me, and I just recall opening it up and reading through it. And I remember the symbolism, both from when you first told me about it, and I bought it right before I went into the room for about time. But then, like, when I picked it up the other day, I'm like, yo, fast forward 4 years later, man, and for you to say what you said on my third, Orisha birthday, it was unbelievable. And then the fact that we'll be launching, together the OGC Institute next week, man. So it was a profound moment, just like we're just really just giving thanks, for everything, for the process of life and growth and development, but to like have dreams come true in real time. Like, that was dope, man, because I just remember learning by myself with just the handbook. But that was enough, to hold me over until I was able to meet, my Iyami and my spiritual family here. But that reading OGC was just a whole nother level, man. And like I said, to put it into perspective, to go from just aimlessly searching for more knowledge and information to working with, the progenitor of what I consider to be the progenitor of Orisha IFA, and, in America, man. So it's like, it's a powerful work. And then also the other one, since we're on the feminine energies, this is another profound one too. The Aje, man, this sister, she's dope. It's the Architects of Existence, Aje in Yoruba Cosmology, Ontology, and Orisa by Teresa in Washington. She's a Oya, but she breaks down a lot of powerful, profound aspects of Orisha and Ifa, not just from a feminine perspective either, from both sides, but she highlights the impact and the significance of the feminine energy in the Aje, so it's been a profound week.
Yeah, and there's so much out there for us, and that's why the institute is being formed, and that's why that's why I started writing the books, because our perspective was not being heard, and when little whispers of it came out, here come the other folks, with we rule this, and I'm like, delusional. No, this is my ancestry. This is my people. Now y'all going over there and with your Catholicism and all that kind of stuff, ain't nobody bothering you. But over here, we're trying. And in light of that, when I was down in Brazil and dealing with the tierros and you know, getting a powerful feel of what was happening down there. Now we got to take into consideration that since the 1500s, any practice of African traditional religions was outlawed. They catch you, they kill you. They catch you, they torture you. And by they, I mean the Catholic Church. And by they, I mean the powers that be, from the quote unquote slave owners to the police and politicians. It wasn't until 1970. I was born in 52. Just to put the time perspective on how not so long ago that was. You understand what I'm saying? How not so long ago. And I'm not even going to talk about the islands. You get caught, you know, jumping up and down behind some Orisha and all that kind of stuff. I'm supposed to be dragging you off to jail. Outlawed. And then there's a whole story behind it. But again, this is for class. But just to let people know that the reason why we are so immersed in the syncretism and how we've come to know Orisha is because we had to mask it, you know, we had to, you know, play it off. We had to merge. We had to, you know, cover the face of it. Like the capoeira people had to play it off like they're dancing, you know what I mean, and joking around. But in truth, they were practicing a very, very formidable martial art.
Oh yeah, capoeira.
Yeah. It wasn't no joke, you know. But it carried on again, unlawful to practice it, you know, on the straight up and up. Okay, so we had to code things, and that's not to say that it was bad or useless. It was had to be done, but for over centuries we've had to do it. And then many of us were raised in Catholic churches, you know, Baptist churches, you know, Protestant, you know, the whole system in society is basically colorism in its worst definition. So how we are made to see us, okay, becomes a matter not only for us but for the Orisha. How could we not think that our ancestral divinities, okay, would just say, well, y'all just go ahead and keep us in the shadows and keep us discolored and keep us not thought about, you know? So here we are trying to say, let's learn more about the pre-enslavement. Let's pull on that. Okay. And not the 600 years or so, okay, that we've been enslaved, when we've been in existence for 60,000 years. Okay. Let's try to understand Yemoja from the mother of symbolically. Okay. Now, it's not to say that, you know, the syncretism isn't of value even today. But what happened when I was in Brazil, fast forward, is that the Tierra by this one ear who was like, I want to know more about the essence of the Orisha without the syncretism. Boy, they ganged up on her and they made it so hard for her. And now, remember that this has been going on since the 1500s. So you have children born into the syncretism. You have people being Catholics and Orisha people, you know, and now you starting to see folks kind of tearing away, but it's hard. It's hard, you know. Even now, I just read an article about her, and I actually met her. I actually spoke with her, and you know, it's still problematic. You know, it's still problematic because you know we're still kind of stuck in a slave mentality, but it's not our fault. Economically, politically, we know we're underrepresented or not represented at all. I put articles in Global Perspectives where my goodness, the politicians, they were going after Orisha people like cats chasing mice, you know, because they
Witch
wanted
hunt.
to make it a political statement.
No, I said it sounds like a witch hunt.
Oh, definitely, definitely,
Mm.
definitely.
Speaking of like symbolism, Baba, are you familiar with the Olodum festival? Well, I believe it's a band, but it got so big that they made a festival. But that I was sharing in the comments while you were while you were dropping knowledge with your last answer, that the Michael Jackson song "They Don't Really Care About Us." That was
Yeah,
a song that was kind of like dedicated to Yoruba culture. He did that in Brazil. He filmed the video in Brazil at the Olodum festival. And
yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like he was shouting out, Orisha, like, in Yoruba culture.
yeah.
So all
All
admire
over
it.
yeah, and then there's the group, you know, the musical group. You know,
Yeah.
they came. You know, I'm listening to them
Hmm.
back in the day as well.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, the things about Michael Jackson that you don't see a lot of.
Right, right. And then ain't nobody gonna talk about that part of it, but they'll bash him and accuse him and tear down, try to assassinate his character, but they
Right.
don't give him the props that he deserves and earned as being the king of pop, and legitimately the king. But he was about that life too, very, very spiritual brother, that I'm
Yeah.
learning more about now, and his, and him being an ancestor.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Iyami for a minute
Oh yeah.
because it interpreted as witchery and witchcraft. Okay. Um, and dare I say that interpretation is kind of Western male or back to that or witches.
Yes.
But see, you see a lot about, for example, the witches. Even in the interpretations of the Odu into English or in Spanish, of course, and just like people are fighting to say that Eshu is not Satan, you know, uh, Eshu ni Shishe Satani, okay, but
Hmm.
we might have to fight and say, well, the Iyami aren't necessarily witches.
Hmm.
You know, now are some of them a little yeah, they gone for broke. Yeah, just like there's some men, but we don't hear about men being wizards, quote
Right.
unquote, or so. And I spoke about that during the Warriors episodes
Hmm.
when I was saying I would define it as shamans, not
Hmm.
wizards. You understand?
Big
So
difference. Big
yeah,
difference.
but see, we're stuck on English. We're stuck on Greco Roman language barriers and prejudices because they were haters of women.
Hmm.
Up to the whole Latin a macho thing. You know what I'm saying? So now here we have the Gele, who see the Yemoja is their divinity. That's their Orisha, and there's just no question about it. And when
Hmm.
the sisters wrap their heads in the Gele, that is a statement towards the Gele and towards Yemoja.
Hmm.
The power of womanhood, and the greatest of that power is the bringing forth. Yemoja I say soon Yemoja. Okay, the rivers of creation, the rivers of birth. Okay, so here we have the Iyami and the Aje, which is pronounced a little different than money. you know, but we don't speak as tonally Yoruba as perhaps, you know, we're learning more of. But just because they're spelled the same way doesn't mean they mean the same thing, you know.
Right.
Because we hear, you know, depending on how the tonation marks go. But if we have, you know, the Aje, which can be a good, or like we could find, like perhaps in Ofumeji or so, where the women are cautioned because there's something going on in their behavior or their world where the Aje or the Iyami are causing complications with the pregnancy.
Mm. Mm.
You see, so now we have to find out what are you doing? What's going on here? You know, because the Iyami are only going to come at somebody if they're provoked.
Yeah, because they're very powerful protectors and guardians over children, correct, Baba?
Well, they can be.
Right. I've
Okay.
studied that. I've read that before too. They're protective of children.
Well, they spring from the mothers.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. Technically, all of us are their children, but yeah.
But all mothers aren't, you know.
Nurturing
And then there's sometimes there's situation where they have to step in and be like, I'm gonna whip your behind. I'm your mother, but you gonna get a whipping because of the way you carrying on out here, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna protect you, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna sit back and let you offer your death. Huh?
I said, let everything slide. It kind of reminded me of when you were talking about Oshun the other day, when you were saying, yeah, she loves us. She's a loving, you know, mother, but she ain't gonna let everything slide. You can't just do and say anything and think it's gonna be okay. Like unconditional, no, ain't no unconditional. You're gonna get checked if you come out.
Get checked, you know, and then there ain't no promise that you're gonna survive it.
I don't want that smoke.
You know, not every cub out there in the grassland survives. You know what I mean? No matter how protective that mother is, there are other forces at play. You know, and again, just like men on the battlefield can get out of hand and just basically, like Ogum said, I'm going to kill everybody. Okay. And then the Iyami, you got groups of them that can get out of hand. And now, you know, something got to be done to kind of ease these sisters. Come on, y'all wilding. You know what I mean?
Man, listen.
And again, this is where the offerings come in. This is where the understanding comes in. This is where the appeasement comes in. Remember, we talked about different types of sacrifices. Okay.
You know, and I want to. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to ask you that because you know, I have a shrine dedicated to the Iyami. I'm looking at it now, but what are some? Because this is something this is rare territory for me anyway. And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the tribe or you, Baba, but there's not a lot. I haven't found a lot of like information and literature in regards to the Iyami or Aje. Like books and studies. So what are some of the offerings that you know, non-eyeball related or sacrificial offerings that are good to give or appease to the Iyami or the Aje?
Well, I'm going to be right honest with you. I'd rather hold off on that, you know, because these aren't forces to be, you know, just over just general knowledge. Now people can, if you look it up, but you ain't hear from me. All right, because it can get a little intense. Gotcha. And then let's say a marriage between Orumila. I've never come across Orumila being married to any of the Iyami. Never.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe there's some sort of correlation between him and Oshun, and then what maybe somebody might maybe paint it Oshun and the Iyami. Like that's just what I'm assuming.
No, Oshun. The only time Oshun was connected with the Iyamis is in Oshimeji, where the people of a certain town, because Oshun, you know, had grace and beauty and power, they took her as a witch, but she let them know that I ain't no witch, but you ain't gonna play with me.
Oh, that's right.
You know, so no, there's been times when Orumila had to deal with the witches.
Yeah, I've read that before. Yeah, and he was the only one that I believe that was able to like do anything with the Iyami, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So and that was when, you know, again, the forces get out of hand. I mean, again, these are not benevolent sky gods, you know, these are forces of nature, you
Yes.
know, and sometimes they get out of hand, and we cause them to get out of hand, and sometimes they just get out of hand because they get out of hand. And the priestly kind of, they, okay, you know, there's a change in the wind. I don't know why, but we better do something, you know, because if we don't, now we're going to have to take the brunt, you know, we're going to have to take the hit. You know? So women, if you are carrying a child, there's certain ways you have to behave. Don't talk bad about people, don't eat certain foods, you know, observe the taboos. Okay. Make sure to give homage to your Orisha, you know, continually, you know, pray for protection against, you know, the Jogun, you know, and if you have to appease the Iyamis or the Aje, okay, make sure you do so quietly, okay, because these aren't forces that you just want to, you know. Yeah. Be careful what you open up. You know, I don't take them lightly. Trust me. You know, and like, don't put down offerings for them because if they come and you're not ready, you know. So my greatest response to it, and I'm not trying to, you know, circumvent it, would be to learn as much as you can, and then follow up on the Gele, you know, and then I guess I could loosely say that the same offerings that you would give to Yemoja, you know, because she is the mother of, you know, them symbolically, then I would consider, you know, doing that if one feels that they are beset by them, not just because.
Gotcha. So you don't want to activate or open up that portal or that, you know, vortex if there's no need to, if you're not getting led or directed
Oh,
via information. Got you. And real quick, Baba, Ifa Sagun asked a great question too. So who is allowed to appropriate? But I think you might have answered it. Did you just answer that question with what you just said, Baba?
yeah, the Gele. Okay, so say if we were in Nigeria, if I say go, you know, and we have the Gele, or if we're down in Brazil or Cuba, where, you know, where there's this society of women, you know, who meet, you know, who you know, empower themselves through ritual. And then something comes up, and it's like, it seems like the Babalao said that I have a, you know, situation with the Odu, you know, maybe Egbé Ogunda comes up, and it's like, you not only have to do something for Yemoja, but you have to take care of the Iyami, go to the Gele, and da. Then the Gele priestesses will take care of it. So the priestesses of Yemoja would probably be, okay, the ones to kind of channel that Ashe.
Kind
You
of like the
know?
gatekeeper.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Okay.
Gotcha.
Or the matriarchs inside of the Gele,
Mm-hmm.
who are all Yemoja priestesses to whatever degree, you know, because all of the Gele see Yemoja as their mother, so they're all worshippers of Yemoja. So here we have this line, okay. Now, at the end of that line would be the Babalaos. Okay. Or on a deep tip, the Babalao may even send you to a Yemoja priestess. If it's not something that is tearing at you, you know, then the Babalao, you know, got to tighten up and say, okay, I need to see an elder about this, or I need to do some deep research, or I need to dream on this, or whatever, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I need to do something about these Iyamis, because see, they not to be, you know, taken lightly.
No, sir.
Like the old aunties, you know what I mean? You don't be messing around with them, you know what I mean?
I don't mess with no female, especially black female. I don't want none of that smoke, boy. None of it at all.
So if I say go, that's the road I would take, but only if absolutely necessary, you know. And how would you know it's necessary? Well, you would feel something, and or you know,
come up in divination.
The divination, the Odu says, you know, you might want to do something about this. You know. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a you know, it's not a lot. Like I said, a lot of information out in regards to the Aje Iyami, like it is most of the other Orishas. Even Wale was referencing Baruku, and he was going and dropping some jewels in the chat as well, in regards to, you know, like different Orishas that's not necessarily known about, but that are relevant and powerful, which well, they're all powerful, but you know, but yeah, it's a real thing, man. And so with the makeup of the Aje, is that considered to be just Yemoja, Oshun, and Oya, or are there more feminine or female deities who are attributed to the Aje?
There's numerous. It's just like the Orisha that we know aren't the only Orisha. You know what I mean? Everybody's, you know, kind of narrowed down to what we could digest. You know, well, under the Ma'afa for real.
Right.
Okay.
I got you.
And then to add to that, my brother, it depends on what region you're from.
Yeah.
Okay? Because but like I said, if you don't live near, you know, a river or the ocean, you probably, I heard about Olokun and Yemoja, but you know, that's cool. But up here we got we know we got the we got the Orisha of the farm, you know, because we're farmers. Okay. We know what you do. And the people who live near the ocean might not have anything to do with the Orisha of the farm.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
It's perfect sense. You
Yeah,
know,
because even in Nigeria. Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I was saying Nigeria, you know how it's like towns or you know, states that are dedicated to one Orisha. There is no this Orisha, that Orisha, that Orisha. No, it's like Obatala is Obatala, Oshun is Oshun, Ogun is Ogun, Shango is, you know what I'm saying? It's like straight up towns and tribes, and that's it. It ain't no mixing of nothing. Or even like we dare to say like Trinidad, you know, with it being a big Shango island, you know,
Shango, yeah.
Yes,
and so, but see, that's another thing too. When we look at the syncretism, you know, not to go, you know, too far, you know, off topic, but we are talking about the Orisha. When I was over, you know, I wasn't really down with the syncretism, you know, and that's no slight. It's just my personal preference, you know. But I asked the Araba Amalamo, I said, well, you know, do they have like roads of Obatala? Do they have like roads of Oshun and all the other Risha? And he, what you said triggered that. He was like, no, here Obatala is Obatala. Oshun is Oshun. You know, they don't have different roads. But I understand why there are roads.
Right.
Because many of the roads that we find in syncretism were regions that people came from. You know, either literally geographically or symbolically. And the different roads started to kind of take the place of the different kind of personalities and psychospirituality that the individual who was now becoming, you know, an initiate was either noticed and or divine. So it's like, yeah, you may be an Oshun, but you're this type of Oshun, you know, and the people from this region, that's kind of like how they were, you know. Yeah, and then somebody else come. You're an Oshun, but you're this other type of Oshun, based on the region that these people came from and what they were doing with the Oshun. So you might have the Oshun who's more diplomatic, the Oshun who's, not all over concerned about quote unquote beauty, but concerned about diplomacy. So this is your road. You're Oshun as a diplomat. And then there are the Oshuns who may have been closer to the midwives in the next town over. Oh, so you're the Oshun that, looks after the children. You may not be the motherly type, but you are very protective of children, especially children who are under duress, so instead of one or the other, back to my original statement, well, your way is the right way and my way is the wrong way, or your way is the wrong way, my way is the right way, and all the time we going back and forth over, things that we really don't know anything about. I mean, really, we're all just speculating, then we start to see that there are reasons for things, there are purposes for things, and we can be unified if we just kind of get over, the arrogance, and if we just kind of get over the gangsterism that we find much too often in the African traditional religion, and of course it's based on money. I ain't no need sitting here trying to act all holier than thou. There are people who are just who keep you running in a circle and keep division, as their ploy, as their plot, breeding seeds of confusion. And we can be beyond the confusion. We really, really can. Now, I mean, I can accept the fact that if you want to do Yemoja on December 8th and all of that, but can you accept the fact that I'm not going to do it? And then we can all sing Kumbaya at the end of the day, all right? Because see, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. What really matters is, are we embracing our mother? I might bring flowers and you bring,
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the drink that she, she like. Can't think of the name of it. It's like almost looks like a syrup.
Molasses.
It's like, yeah, molasses. Yeah, molasses.
Yeah, Yemoja molasses, great. But you know what molasses is strong in? Molasses is strong in iron. And so here, here we can, and this relationship between these types of foods, and especially with pregnant women, because the baby is literally feeding off of the mother. That's why women in the past who
hair
didn't
grows faster, nails grow
the
faster.
hair, the teeth fall out. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, why are these old people looking so old? Well, you find out they have 4 or 5 babies. You know what I mean? And that's not the problem. The problem is they don't have the type of nourishment, readily accessible to replace, what the child, literally takes from the mother. And now you're dealing with a Yemoja type of individual. I'm gonna tell you this. One of the first highlights of me getting involved in Ifa Sheshe was through a Yemoja priest.
Wow.
And I'm going to be right honest with everybody out there. It took me a while to wrap my head around a male having a female Orisha. Priest. And I tried not to make it so known, but as I introspected, it became clear to me just how conditioned I was.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just how landlocked I was, even though all African traditional religion, and he's a Yemoja priest, okay, from Puerto Rico, Okay. And I actually went to Puerto Rico to study with them. Okay. And the whole thing about being amazed that we can have men who are, since we're talking about Yemoja, who are priests of Yemoja. You know, everywhere I'm reading, oh, the motherhood and pregnancy and la da 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 da, and we're so split between gender, masculine, feminine, and like all men can have Ogun and Shango and Obatala, and all the women have the women divinities. And I'm like, well, darn, what if they tell me I'm a priest of Oshun? Okay. Based on what everybody's saying about Oshun, how am I going to roll with this?
Yeah.
Now you got to remember, I'm old school, so you know what I mean. It was a little bit more all this kind of thing, you know, that we see these days. But it was like, wow. But I appreciated it. There was something inside of me that says, why can't men be loving? Why can't men be motherly?
Yeah.
You know, why can't there be that side of inside of us that makes it possible to reach that harmony inside where a man could be a priest of Yemoja?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I know one male, off the top of my head, I know one male Yemoja priest, and then I also know two male Oya priests that, you know, I know personally. Shout out to, matter of fact, both of them been on here. Shout out to Baba Orisagbemi, and Professor Smalls is a priest of Oya. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's, you know, it's definitely, you know, men, priests with female deities out there. And vice versa. I know several Shango priestesses, you know, several. I think I know more Shango priestesses than I know any other opposite gendered sex person with Orisha. I think that's the most prominent one that I know of is the Shango female priestesses.
I think Obatala would come next.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. Obatala would probably be my number one.
Okay, all right. And then Shango?
Yeah, then I would say Shango. Yeah, let me take that back. But so yeah, so we're gonna say Obatala. I would say he would be the one I think I know the most female priestess, and then after that it would be Shango for sure.
Yeah. But you know, but since we're, you know, talking about the female forces, you know, the feminine, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm internalizing it, and that's where I confronted so many, you know, conditioned walls, and and I had to step beyond it and not feel as though my physical representation, you know, as a man, you know, as a military veteran, you know, as a pirate, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah, alpha male, you know, and taking on this, but then I came to love it. You know, I came to understand that as a source of my completion. You know, I embraced the Oshun in me, you know, and I embraced the recognition of the Yemoja in me, you know, because I am Omo Orisha. That was put on my head. So how can I just deny that and be complete?
Yeah. And you know, Baba, I feel like, especially someone like yourself and myself, but I feel like I can't speak for everybody, and I won't try to. But when I say this, I feel like most artistic men, artistic males, like who can really like dive deep into their craft, whatever it is, whether you're a singer, you're an artist, you're a writer, a spoken word artist, you know, someone like yourself who, you know, serial artist in regards to doing books and, you know, drums and all the things that you're doing. Me too, with writing books and all the artistic stuff that I do. I feel like you have to have a certain level of ability to tap into the feminine energy and essence in order to create art at a really high level. That's just on my own personal bias. And I'm telling you now, I'm being biased because I have an affinity for the mothers and I'm never changing that. But having the conversation I had today with Baba Karade and Ifa, like they're a husband and wife, Shango and Oya couple. And I asked him, like, how does that work? That's a lot of powerful energy going on. It was a phenomenal answer from both of them. I ain't going to ruin the episode. Y'all see it when it come up. But it was dope, though, because they're both creators. You know, they're both authors and, you know, play music and all that stuff. But just in hindsight, man, I really do feel like as a man, and I consider myself to be a man's man. So it's like I still don't have a problem with embracing feminine energy. And actually, I feel like it helped me tremendously, especially when it comes to anything creative. Anything creative.
You know, one of the deepest things that I found out about Bruce Lee, you know, was that he loved the ballroom dance. He'd put on his own dance and go out, and he was a competitor. You know what I mean? On the dance, I'm like, you see, you know, and you're going to stand up against Bruce Lee? I think not. You know what I mean? Because he'd be like,
hey, anyone ain't no big dude, but you can go ahead on, man. Miss me with that, man. Go ahead on, Bruce, with that foolishness, man.
Yeah, you know, and there was football team back in the past. I want to say the Cowboys, but whatever. But the head coach, which back in the 60s, he brought in ballet teachers to start working with his team. And what he found out was shocking, you know, that once they became not just more flexible, but more like, you know, moving as a unit.
Yes.
They started to perform better on the field. Because see, that whole this is man and I'm rugged kind of thing, that it can work better once the fluidity and the flow and whatever we define as feminine becomes not relegated to chores and sex and having babies and you know, I mean, the Western mentality.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty deep. Oh, now going back to molasses for anemia. Yeah, on Pacific. Well, that's because of the iron. You know. Yeah, yes. That's because of the iron. Now we could take a step on the wild side and then make that connection with Yemoja and Ogun, because iron is necessary for the body and iron is necessary for the blood of the mother and the child. Yep. You see, though separate, they work in harmony. Sure. But when it gets out of hand and there's deprivation or abuse, like in this in the case of rape, what we don't really hear about Oshun being raped. We don't hear about Oya being raped. There's no connection. But in two instances, you know, we find where the Yemoja is raped. You know, again, one was with Ogun, and one was with Ajagu. Shango's father, you know, in terms of, you know, the volcano and all that.
Wow. See, I haven't heard that one. I did hear about Ogun, but I never heard of one.
But see, now again, we're talking about symbolically.
Right, I got you.
Now, we're talking.
So now that's metaphorically speaking. If you talk about okay. So, and for those who might not know who Oganju is said to be Shango's father, but also the Orisha, who is the god of the volcanic eruptions. So that would be the equivalent of a volcano erupting with all the hot molten lava then dripping down into the water of Yemoja. Is that like the type of break, like more of a?
It could be. It could be.
That's deep. That's real deep.
So now, how, you know, and you see this whole rape thing, you know, is worthy of discussion within the Orisha community.
Yes. You know? Yes.
Because on the African continent, one of the major problems that we're having is rape.
Yes. Colonizers raping and pillaging the land.
And those who have been colonized.
Yes.
Because soldiers, and even prior to the Europeans, would consider raping the woman of their enemy as a spiritual onslaught against their enemy. because it's a disruption in the spiritual flow, and then that would have a negative impact on their enemy.
That's sick.
Oh, it gets deep, man.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And
we've seen that, of course, with our plight, with the, you know,
oh
with
yeah,
our,
well, yeah, with us.
mm,
But rape wasn't even, and still is not really enforced as a crime against humanity. But they've been trying to push it in the United Nations, and they say that it's done, but there's no enforcement of it. There's men who can get away with rape right here in this country,
oh yeah. Unfortunately, it happens all too often too.
all too often. So now we can see why the Iyamis get pissed off,
And I am
and
mad at them.
you understand, and why they coming for people.
Yes, sir. Because I got that same energy that they do when it comes to that zero
Yeah,
tolerance. No
yeah,
forgiveness,
yeah,
moving bad. Nah, you're gonna get that work.
yeah,
Period.
yeah.
Wow.
So, these are like grown folks conversations. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
How do we prevent it? How do we avoid it? When it does happen, what do we do about it? We're the priestly. Somebody come to you talking about, or the Odu comes down where it's like, there's a female child who needs protection from Shango, Yemoja, because she's being accosted. There's something going on here. Okay. It's funny. Oh yeah, well, she went out with her boyfriend and she came back crying and said that, he did this and he did that. Okay, well, we got to deal with that issue. Okay,
That part.
we have to deal with it. Can't then tell you go get a chicken. You know what I mean? We're gonna feed Chango. No, what are we gonna do about this baby girl over here? Because
Oh yeah.
now the Iyamis is like, oh, we got a candidate.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
We got a candidate. We can woo her over to our side, and we're gonna wreak havoc in the world
Yeah.
of man.
Mm.
This stuff goes deep, brother.
Yeah. Nah.
And
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in Kosi, the power of of the force of you, man, can waylay any type of protection that we say we have.
Mm.
I mean, churches have been bombed. The little girls were sitting in church, and the white dude flies over and drops a bomb. They sitting in
Mm.
church praying. So yeah, we want the Iyami to protect, but we have to know what happens when somebody breaks through.
Mm.
Just praying to the Iyami for protection, and that's not enough.
Yeah.
We were praying for protection against being captured and enslaved.
Right.
You know. So, we have to,
Well,
we have to be really realistic about things. How
yeah.
many people go out to war and their parents, pray that they come back safe and sound, but tens and
Inevitable.
hundreds of thousands, you see,
Mm-hmm.
are dead. They're dead. They're dying on the freaking battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not to say that it shouldn't be done, but it is also to say that praying to a god or do the Iyami is not the answer in total. It can't be. It's not. It's just statistically just not there. How
Yeah.
many of our young girls have been raped, like you said, by the colonizers, by the enslavers? You see?
It's one of those things, Baba, where I got to quote Sir Kendrick Lamar again. He's come up in a lot of times, but it's one of the things sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at that, what we're talking about now, and I don't want to go too far into it because that I get into a tizzy, but what we're talking about now is one of those things for me. It's always been zero tolerance. Like I said, I've never been able to. I just can't rock with nobody who move like that. Period. I don't want nothing to do or say. I'm not even gonna act like I'm cool with you because you're somebody that I don't have respect for. You know what I'm saying? I try to give everybody respect. But somebody who does that ain't none. And I'm gonna be clear about it. I'm not gonna fake front act like it is. But with that, that I've had the same sentiments with what we were dealing with as a people with all the police murders. because I felt like, and I'm not going to go down that road all the way, but I also have the thought process that if you continue to allow that kind of stuff to happen, then of course it's going to continue to happen. But I look at it like the bully mentality. If you go to school and the bully smack you in the back of your head and taking your lunch money every day, or stealing your book bag and taking what they want, they're going to keep doing it. But if one day you just muster up, you know what I'm saying, you muster up your strength and your inner belief and power in yourself, and like, man, if he come at me today, I'm gonna knock his block off. And then, you know what I'm saying, and if and when they do, and you give it to them, what I found in personal experience is whether I won the fight or not, it solved that problem with that bully. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point you get pushed to the point where enough is enough. And I was just reading the symbolism in regards to the Haitian Revolution in Ogun, and the Bokas Keman ceremony where they invoke the spirit of Ogun. It's like when you get to a point where you push a person or a people or, a nation to the brink of destruction or the brink of extinction, you're going to get that last force of, saying, okay, well, here we go, let's get it. And then you pop out and show them, and then there's that. So, so it's like, it's one of them things where I can't, I'm never going to condone somebody getting towed up by the Iyami, but at the same time, I understand why they get towed up if they're doing those types of malicious acts.
Yeah. But then we have to look at the laws of the land and who's privileged and who's not, and who gets put into certain situations. And if the white girl called rape on the black man, oh, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So we yes must give to the divinities all that we can, but we're going to have to teach our young ladies, don't be scrolling and getting involved on the freaking internet with some guy who want to come by and take you for a quick ride, and you feeling all beside yourself, and you just gonna go do it. That Iyami ain't going to stop you from doing it, and ain't going to stop anything from being done to you, no matter how many offerings your folks put down. But we have to take the reality of it. What the Iyami are saying, young lady, that you need to stop doing this because I'm warning you, and they're warning. You understand? We got to inject it in, and not just put down an offering or pray it into existence. That's just not going to happen. Just like we had to march for civil rights, and we had to do, Black Lives Matter for police brutality. We have to do something.
Yeah.
The revolution they weren't just sitting around chanting to Ogun. It was like, no, we're picking up these daggone machetes. We get these rifles. So we're empowered by these forces to make our stand and protect ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, these ain't no sky gods. We're not praying for salvation. We pray for support. We pray for empowerment as the manifestations of Oludumare via the Orisha, the Irumole, and even the Ajogun.
See? Yeah, that's deep, man. Shout out to shout out to Stephen McDaniel for just joining the tribe, man. We appreciate you, family. And then also, if I see going in, Cozy going in the chats. Baba, can you they're going in out there, but can you speak to the question by Pacific Dogwood? He was asking, is Ganju the Orisha of Volcano, is that more of a New World aspect, or does that go back into Antiquity, like coming from from Nigeria or the origins?
Well, we do find Agaju prior to the enslavement of our people, to put a finger on volcanoes in Nigeria, I think we'd have to search really deep, to search for the underground, probably, or knowledge of the underground as a ball of fire, I think our people had the wherewithal to kind of sense that, or in some way experience it. So this principle became a matter of, elevation, or elevating to an Orisha state. Now, once you take our people to geographical areas where there are volcanoes, or they've traveled and experienced volcanoes and then came back to Nigeria with, this new information, because remember, we traveled the globe, then I would say that the Agaju is not as much of a new world, as most all of the Risha aren't, more of a new world. It's just how they're practiced, It's just how they've been mixed with the Bantu, and mixed with Catholicism, and mixed with other tribal nations, and for example, Kendamle, in that respect, basically means dance in honor of the gods. Kendamle means to dance in honor of the gods. So we break that down. Well, who are the gods? So we have Agaju, we have Shango, we have on it, but Shango is a new Orisha, relatively speaking. Before Shango, the Orisha of the lightning and the thunder was Jakuta. You see? So Pacific, I would have to say, not more of a new world aspect, but maybe a new world interpretation. Just adding a little bit to it. Yeah, like Yemoja Olokun was changed to Yemoja kind of thing. Okay. But in the lore, we still see, that Agaju is said to be the father of Shango, but that's not physically the case, but it is metaphorically or symbolically. Okay.
Yeah, because I read the story with him, and I think it was him and Yemoja, with him like trying to cross the body of water, or I can't remember the story in depth, but it was a story in regards to Aganju and his connection to Yemoja, but it was something to do, I think, with him crossing a body of water or something like that. And yeah, but anywho, that's some real talk, man. And then also Pacific Dogwood was saying, like, we still marching and fighting for civil rights and for equality, which is definitely still happening for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing to sit and to make offerings and prayers, and trust me, I'm not saying anything about it, but again, that's it's kind of the churchified mentality of, well, if we pray hard enough, something's going to change. Well, if you come Rosa Parks and Dr. King said, well, we just can't be sitting up here and praying. We're going to boycott. We're going to hit them where it hurts. We're going to take their money. You know what I mean? They lost millions of dollars behind folks saying, oh, you going to do us like this? Well, we're going to do you like this. Okay.
Yes,
and we're going to start doing it. So, Coach, we got Harriet Tubman, the Moses of our people. She wasn't just sitting there praying for protection and, oh Lord, it's going to be all right. No, we're going to get y'all. Okay. Yeah, we got this underground railroad thing happening. Okay. So, we deal with these forces, feminine, masculine, positive, negative, however we want to look at it. But if we don't take it into the elevation of ourselves and the ascending of ourselves as beings, and I guess I have a shout out to Egbé. She called text me yesterday, said, I was listening to the podcast, and you talked about the Orisha, but does that also include supporting the Orishas we have right here, right now? The people who are talking about ascension, the people who are, literally, putting their life into the upliftment of our people, aren't they considered like Orisha? And are we really supporting those who are, putting in the time, putting in the years, putting in the battle? Because you said for the most part, it doesn't seem like, you know, it's being supported. People go give all their money for, getting 500 pots and all that kind of thing, but they won't buy a book. They won't come, it's still that mentality.
Yeah.
It's still that mentality. Are we supporting one another? Or are we seeing the Orisha and I'm doing the whole, are we seeing the people who are building institutions for us
That part.
as being, emanations of the Orisha? You got Chief sitting here, you got Baba Lao sitting here. So is support, there?
Yeah.
But that was a good question. Now, I mean, it kind of stopped me in my tracks,
Listen, and you know what's funny? It reminded me of last week. I want to say it was I think it was Nkosi, but one of them either Nkosi or Ifá, it was one of the enforcers, the tribe enforcers. But they were saying the same thing. It was like you got a whole Oba, here, breaking all this down, and it's like people are being disrespectful, like. And I don't even talk about being in Oloye because for me, it's like what you said. It's like I'm working on earning my, you know what I'm saying, like the position that I've been blessed with because I look at it like my work speaks for me. I mean, I'm appreciative of the title and the chieftaincy, but it's more about the work and the impact to me, and I feel like that's where I know what really matters. I'm not saying that the titles and the Oloyes and chieftaincies and Obas and all that don't matter, but I dare to say that I'm grateful for you and all the work that you've done. And that would have resonated on me, whether I knew you was an Oba or not. You know what I mean? Because hell, without the education, I don't even know what an Oba is. But you gave the time, the energy, the sweat, and the effort to pour your heart and spirit out within the papers, in between the lines with the pen or, typing it up for us to be able to benefit from it for, like you say, 7 generations going forward. So that to me is what's going to matter long term for me in regards to the way the work has impacted the people more so than a title that some other people would just masquerade and dance around with in front of the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it matters the most.
Yeah, we're not about celebrity status, man. You know what I mean?
What's up?
Many followers you got, this, that, and the other thing. But the people we do have, I'll be the first to say, we need your support as badly as you know what I mean? And it's like it's not a monetary. It's the first thing I learned about African traditional religion. The first word was reciprocity.
Yes,
was
sir.
reciprocity. That was the first word. And we make offerings, the Orisha one give us, and then we give back to the Orisha and all that. Yeah, that's reciprocity on kind of a very wide sense.
Right.
But the respect that you give to elders because of the knowledge that they give and the wisdom that they give, okay? The various types of support. You wouldn't go to an elder diviner up in the hills and not bring a goat or something for them to sustain themselves. Just can't keep going. I want to get, but I'm going to give everything to the Orisha, and meanwhile the priests are like starving to death. You know what I mean? And it's like, so in order to build the institution, the people have to know and have an idea of how to make it happen.
Yes.
How to make
economics, man. Cooperative economics, you know,
Yeah.
and working together collectively as a tribe. And this is something too that we can hopefully in the future have as a topic, but like the tribal communal aspects of our culture. That's something that we definitely, I feel like, should, you know, go deep into, because it's needed. And especially now with this economy and the way, you know, things are going, you see all the damn food prices, gas prices, utility prices, mortgage prices, rent prices, everything going sky damn high. But you ain't seeing people's compensation going up and being, you know what I'm saying, elevated along with all this inflation and BS that's going on. So it's like now is the time where we need each other more than ever in regards to, like you were saying, the reciprocity. So shout out to Ifa saying that too. Like, it's like that's now is the time where we really do have to work on being willing and able to barter with each other, being willing and able to support each other in whatever way we can, because each one teach one. You know, united we stand, divided we fall. It's the collective that makes the force. Like you always say, like the Orishas are fingers on the same fist. You know what I mean? Like we're all, you know, from the same ultimate tribe, the universal tribe. You know, so it's like we definitely need to support each other and embrace each other when we're in a position to do so. It's not like we're saying go out there and spend your last, you know, to support somebody or do anything like that. But at the same time, we also know that the same people who won't support somebody that they're benefiting from will go out and buy a hell of a bottle of Hennessy and a pack of blunts and some, you know what I'm saying, some cigars and Black and Mild and all that, but yet won't drop $25 on a book or $14 on a book, or, you know, maybe $50 on a course, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I think that's where there is a disparity in regards to how some of us are moving culturally, not all of us, because there's a lot of us, you know, who are supporting, including you and myself. We support each other and other, you know, authors and speakers, et cetera, in the tribe. You know, the tribe supports us, and I feel like we do our best to pour in and support the tribe back. So it's definitely there. I just feel like we can all elevate it to another level in regards to taking everything to another level.
Okay. A shout out to the Trinidad and Tobago folks. All right.
Yeah, man. We talked them up, spoke them up. We were just talking about Trinidad, Tobago, and Shango Baptiste.
Yeah. And I was there back in the 90s at the Orisha conference in Trinidad. I still got the old book up there that, you know, they published some of my papers in. So I had a very, very enlightening time. And I put some in the Global Perspective book, the new Global Perspectives. Okay. Again, the manuscript is right on the oloyekarade.gumroad.com. You know, and nobody's saying that you know, you have to get the materials and then read everything all at once. But, you know, you keep your library, you keep current, and these become matters of discussion. Okay. I don't want to be the only one reading, nor do I want to be the only one writing.
Right.
But, you know, we need to keep, you know, literature and being literate as a great part of what the Institute, what the Karade Nation, what the Ashe tribe is all about. You have published writers in front of you. You have business entrepreneurs right in front of you. We're not just the everyday Ifa priest. Oh, I'll go to and get a reading. You know, it's like, no, we're disseminating knowledge and ways of thinking, you know, beyond the conditioned state of Westernism, you know. But yeah, you know, don't really want to go too far or too deep into that. But you know, just to say, that there are many dimensions towards keeping our tradition alive. And knowing about Yemoja, the Iyami, the Aje, okay, the Gele, all that's very, very important. But what's as important is that we recognize those energies within our community, and we do the best to protect our young girls from the ravages of men, you know, and their insanity. I was just reading today that the freaking Catholic Church paid out over $3 billion protecting, you know, settling cases with pedophilia and all that kind of stuff. $1 billion. We know what $3 billion could do for any community, especially ours, but they're settling out of court, you know, to keep their thing together. So here they have all this magnificent, you know, God and the angels and and all of that. And when people pay their money to these churches, but the point was that money coming in goes to settle these cases in the billions of dollars, my people, the billions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
And here
Yeah,
we are saying, you know, come on, people, support the channel. Come on, people, get the works. Come on, people, form a collective of you know, intellectualism, and kind of get off of the, you know, the chariot of, oh, the Orisha going to save us if we just pray hard enough, we just do this, we just do that. No, it's like, you know, we got to get stronger, man. We you know, we gotta pull together, and we got to support the leadership. You know. Yeah, Baba Orisagbemi didn't mean to.
No, man. You good, man. You know, apologies needed for me. Listen, I'm the co-pilot, you know. But nah, that's real though, what you saying, man. And you know, like I said, it's coming. I can't thank, you know, our tribe enough, because they definitely show a lot of love and support. You know, and I think even with that, shout out to Nkosi, because he was saying about I'm gonna find that message. I'm trying to keep up with him. But yeah, shout out to Nkosi, because he was saying, you know, about doing like workshops and regarding, you know, teaching people who want to be authors, you know, the ability of creative writing and putting work together. So that's something that, you know, I'm gonna share with us in our private community, Nkosi, because like the call that we had this last week, you know, I showed you some of the things that I do with AI, man. It's so easy nowadays to create things in regards to having assistance from the technology. It still takes us putting our DNA and our Ashe into it to really bring it to life and to bring it into fruition to where it's going to resonate with a real person, because, you know, it's all like computer generated. But as far as answering the question with the workshop, we definitely can get into that. And I look forward to doing it, honestly, because it's something that I feel like can help a lot of us to make passive income, even so much so of creating ebooks, creating you know, a website and being able to make, hell, we could do a workshop on Saturday, and if everybody does the work on Sunday, you know, to be able to put products up and have them making money the next day. You know what I mean? And eat immediately too, because it's the way the technology is set up. So it's really about us just doing the work. But we'll definitely get into that, family, making that happen for sure. And then shout out to DJ Quico. Shout out to forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Aina Olokuyode. Shout out to Trinidad in the building. DJ Quico, Mika, shout out to you. Mika, I'll send you the links to the websites. The tribe is looking to buy books too, Baba. So yeah, man, you definitely ain't got to worry about running, like, you know, interrupting me. It's, you know, it's all in dialogue, Baba.
Yeah. And before we hit with DJ, I want to add to what you were saying to Nkosi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one way to become a proficient writer, you know, along with the others, is to read.
Yes.
You know, you want to be a creative writer, be a creative reader. You know, and as I shared earlier about the statement, or when will the wars of men cease to be fought on the bodies of women? You attune your ear to the powerful statements from writers. Like I'm reading The Water Dancer, okay? For example, briefly, and bear with the old man, all right? And whenever I come across what I feel to be what we call it a mic drop, you know, by the writer, or a gem, I highlight it, because that becomes the droplets of water that fill my creative bucket. Okay. Not that I want to copy it, but because it was so daggone insightful that I'm going to learn from it. I'm just not reading, I'm reasoning while I'm reading. And it becomes a part of my prior knowledge base, my PKB, which you hear me talk all the time about, and then it filters into my creative source. Okay, where am I pulling from? I create, like you asked about a Baluku. Well, if I didn't have any idea of Nana Baluku or Yemoja or the Iyami, or the Oyo Empire, if I didn't have any knowledge of that, then how can I create a seemingly fictional / creative world that has at its core truth, that has as its purpose a message? You see? So I read Ben Okri. I read Tahaisi Coates. Okay. I read Wole Soyinka. But when I'm reading, I'm kind of checking their technique and their mic drops, and that's, for me, that was a major part. Learning the literary devices. You can Google them. Metaphors, similes, personification, anthropomorphism. You hear me talk about that all the time, and how that relates to creating, even religions, metaphorically speaking, symbolically speaking. You see? So, and I teach it on a college level. Enough said. Okay. I might add a couple of books that I've written. You know what I mean? Creative fiction. But just to add what Baba Orisagbemi was saying, in terms of having the technology, I'm like, put the source. You see this, Orisagbemi, from Mika?
Yeah, I was just putting it on there, but I put them in the chat for her already, Baba. Yes, sir. Like I said, yeah, the messages come so fast, it's hard to put them up. And then I don't want to interrupt you or, throw you off from the screen dancing and bouncing up and down real fast. So
you send it to the Gumroad account, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
I sent her yours and I sent her the Ashe one. The link to both. To your link and then the one. Yes, sir. Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mika.
Yes, sir.
So that was that, on the books, on the creative writing tip.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was something else after that.
Let me find it, because like I said, it just
the question.
Okay. I think that DJ Quico was saying. Yeah.
DJ.
Yes, sir.
DJ, we use Owo. Owo means monies. Okay. And that kind of covers items and money, the Owo, OWO, and depending on how you pronounce it, because Owo also means hands, Owo, so, but it's still, when we, and even depending on the context, we would know, all right, but what that's derecho in the Yoruba construct would be Owo. Okay, hopefully that answers your question.
Mm-hmm. Not sure. Yeah, I think we got a couple more, Baba, because I know it's getting late. We're both going to be up getting work done in the morning, but I want to share the tribes, the comments and everything. We appreciate y'all showing up. So I definitely try to put everybody on the screen, to show the love and to reciprocate it as always. But anything you want to leave for the tribe, Baba, in regards to
Kia asked a question. Starting this.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes and no, Kia. We did start them with the Ashe aspects of it, which is kind of like a preliminary classes that me and Baba was doing while we were launching the institute. However, the institute will be launching fully next, I want to say Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll be doing, so like just to give a basic breakdown, the Ashe private community will have the 2 tiers. One is going to have private exclusive access to private videos and trainings and workshops and things of that nature. But the VIP tier will actually have a lot more. Where I'll be going over like daily devotion, how to work with the Orisha Oshe calendar, the names of each day of the week for the calendar in regards to how that relates to worship and veneration. 4-step process to daily devotion, which will start with honoring and reverencing the day of the week. We'll honor and reverence the Gungun, our Ori, that ancestor of the day, as well as the appeasing and honoring of Eshu. And this is all what I'm doing to kind of prepare people to come to what I would consider that's like junior college. And then when we get to the institute, you're dealing with the 4-year university. Excuse me, with Baba when we go to the OGC Institute, because Baba, is it okay for me to share some of the curriculum, or we want to hold off on that with the tribe?
No, go on. Yeah, continue, man. You on the run, man. Go ahead. On the roll.
So yeah, so that's what we'll be doing, Mika. So like the Ashe VIP is kind of like junior college to kind of prepare, our tribe members with the basic fundamentals of daily devotion, weekly devotion, the 3 different types of devotions, the Ita Dogun, 30-day calendar, and then also, just different aspects about each Orisha, about Orikis and praise songs, and then and setting up ancestral shrines and venerating the ancestors, etc. Pretty much my goal is to create a basic fundamental foundation for new devotees or devotees who have been in a tradition that hasn't received the proper training. And that's just like I said, the prerequisite before we bring people to the institute, because the institute is going to go a lot deeper, because Baba's, you think he'd be dropping jewels and dropping dimes on the podcast and the private, institute and calls, he goes even deeper. So yeah, it takes, I feel like, a strong basic fundamental preset or prerequisite education to kind of really comprehend and take what Baba is going to be serving up to the institute to be able to digest it and fully grasp everything that's going to be shared in that. And then we have another a new development that we're going to be doing, and that's something that is going to be, I would say, about a 9-month process, but we're also going to take the people who join the tribe and to go through the training, the prerequisites, and then the ascension papers in the institute. We're going to have like a top tier to the institute where those people, if they haven't been initiated, we're going to work on initiating people into Orisha and IFA who are students that complete the process of the institute. So that's something that we're working on. So we got it rolling, family, and we're looking forward, to getting it going and getting it cracking, man. To really, like I said, we put our books in our microphones where our mouth is. We really do want to pour in and teach and train all of our tribe members to the highest capabilities that we're capable of. And it's not just a cash grab. We do this because we love doing what we do, but we love the tribe. We appreciate y'all for the love that y'all give back to us. So that's where we're at, family. I think that was Mika. Or Kid Beauty, I'm sorry, that's where we're at, Kid Beauty. Baba, did you have anything else you want to share?
Always one love, and seeing beyond the conditioned state and bringing forth that Yemoja, energy, essence, and homage to the Aje and the Iyami for their guidance and protection via the Gele. And your sisters, wear your Geles, man. Give homage, and brothers, embrace that aspect, embrace it, and hold on to it. Hold on to it. We're still fierce warriors, but we're even more so, when we take into consideration how that yin and yang, work together to make all of us more complete. And let's just be at peace with our ascension.
Sure. Yeah, we got a couple more pouring in too, but there's one that if you don't mind, Baba, would you be able to take another couple questions real quick?
I'm here for the people, brother.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
So T Wriggles me said, what's your take or your opinion on reincarnation, Baba?
My take is that from the Odu that I've come across. It is part of the Ifa Isheshe cosmology, reality. It's like anywhere else. It's kind of specific to a certain region and a certain class of people. You know, like the high priestly might be more inclined to embrace reincarnation, well, within the Ifa Isheshe construct than the people who work in the field kind of thing, right? But wherever you go, it's going to be reincarnation because it's stated back to the number 7 again, which happens to be Yemoja's number, as we numerology type of people, you know,
Yes, sir.
like to hold on to, that when the soul passes on, part of it is reincarnated in those to come after. So we have the Yetun days, Nababa Tun days, you know, the ancestors have returned. That is a form of reincarnation. Okay. We also have where the society or the community, the village, the compound, the empire would name streets like we have Malcolm X Boulevard. That is seen as a form of reincarnation. Okay. We see it happening on various levels. Okay. I haven't seen, like with the Hindus, where you know, a person can come back as an animal, or you know what the Hindus, the cow was sacred, you know, that kind of thing. I haven't seen that in Ifa Sheshe, but I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist somewhere with some people in Nigeria via Berlin Conference or in the expanded territories. So my personal take on reincarnation is that I I would I would rather see it than not see it. I would rather be aware of the fact that not so much I'm coming back, but the part of me that is going to be remembered will be made manifest in something, you know? And so I work on that. I work on that, you know? So we can get a little deeper into it, you know, when it comes down to class, but I would have to say that I embrace reincarnation. That's my take on it. And again, it is supported in the Odu. Okay, so T, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I was trying to type up a couple more. Let me see who that was. At Kia Beauty, I was typing that she was asking the question as, do any of the books have like a lot of information about the Odus? And I told her the Odus are sprinkled throughout all of your work. I mentioned it in the journal as well, something that we're going to do more like hands-on in regards to like live like calls and trainings. But go ahead, Bubba. Tawede
Yes.
does. Yeah, Tawede. And I'm working on that too, Kia Beauty. So we do have Tawede, the book that Baba pretty much wrote during the last 16 days of 2024 that we're working on now. I gotta get the illustrations created to put into the book. But Tawede is a really powerful short read, but a powerful read in regards to the first 16 major Odu. And also I'll put the link in. I was trying to copy and paste it, but it didn't come in. But there's a couple of good books by an author named William Bascom that speak heavily in regards to the Odu that you know, I got from Baba. I think referred me, and a couple of other elders referred me to his work. So those are all you know, a few different types of books that you can research and do more studying in regards to the Odu. But you know, there's not what I haven't found is like one set book that has a really deep, in depth, you know, breakdown of the Odu. But because the Odu is so massive, Baba, is there even such work that could be out there that could actually teach the Odu? Because when we know, okay, because it's what 256 total Odu, and then there's what is it, 1600 stanzas and stories that go along with each one of the Odu. So you're talking about thousands upon thousands of, stories and scenarios that can all be, played out if we're going into the vastness of the totality of the Odu. So that's something I don't know if this one body of work actually has,
but see, that's why I took the journey, in order to basically boil down in a positive sense, to do a comparative study like in the handbook, so people understand the Odu and not seek to memorize the Odu or seek overburdened by the Odu, and that takes cultural in-depthness to say, I know what my people have been exposed to, and now bring this new but very old teaching. You can't dismiss the fact that we know about Christianity, that we know about Islam, that we know about the Kemetan philosophies and science, that we know these things. We just can't dismiss that. We have to, weave it into the cloth, and to say, all right, oh, now I see how this Odu matches to what I already know. Not in something so separate. So I would say in closing that my books, and it's not that I'm focusing on my book, but I took the time to break it down for us, of this country, of this time, okay, of this geopolitical, statement of who we are and what we are and all that kind of stuff, and to say, you know what, comparative analysis is key. So here the Odu, in the handbook of Yoruba religious concepts, there's charts with a comparative analysis, okay, that kind of gives us some groundwork before we get into the larger books with, oh, here's the story, here's the time. But like I tell my students, you can read it, but that doesn't mean you understand it. So get the basics, they're in my books, they're in the PDF. And I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I'm saying it because the spirit that moved me wrote it. And so that would be, I would consider, and Baba Orisagbemi, I would say that, from what you said, you agree that, people get the basics before into the Bascombs and, the larger books. Because it becomes overwhelming. It becomes, I'm just not going to bother. I can't make any connections.
Right. Yeah. No, it reminds me. No, my bad. No, I was just gonna say it reminds me of I can't remember which podcast it was, but another one where we were having, and we were talking about books, and it wasn't necessarily the Odu, but we were talking about books. And for me, I remember sharing that there's a certain time I feel like when we're ready for, kind of like that quote they say, when the student is ready, the master will appear. You know what I mean? The teacher will appear. So there's a certain level in regard, especially to the vastness of the Odu. How I found, like I said, I started with the handbook, still working off the handbook, and using that as a reference points. But what I was going to say too is that sometimes we're not necessarily ready for, like you said, Baba, the Bascombs, because that's like a seasoned veteran type of level. And I'm not sure what Kid Beauty is. She could be already a priestess or a Yanifa, but I do know, based off of my own experience, there was books like the Niccolo Machiavelli and The Art of War. I remember trying to read both of those books back in like the early 90s when I was like my early 20s or late teens, and it just didn't resonate with me because I don't feel like intuitively or even intellectually I was ready for that kind of information to be downloaded into my mind. But then I tried to read both. I read both of them later on, maybe like my early to mid 30s or late 30s, and I was able to grasp both of them without a problem. Because at that point, like Baba was saying to Kosi, I had already then pretty much doubled up on my years of reading. So let's just say if I was 18, 19 when I started reading Machiavelli and The Art of War, by the time I got to like 35, 36, 37, I was able to then process it because I probably, who knows how many books I read in that 20-year span between a teenager to almost 40 something. So it is a difference in regards to the level of information.
Okay.
But
more?
Yeah, we got a few more, but I'm gonna do one more because I gotta get ready for tomorrow too. But I could stay on here all night if time allowed. But one last one. I think this is one I saw a while back. But Sister Aina said, "What would you explain as the importance of the Gele in covering the head of women and men? However, Oshun women braid and decorate their hair with red feathers and no Gele."
They're both important. I mean, again, it's the Gele, the Gele Day, is how those women choose to dress and, deal with themselves, and the colors and all of this is reflective. You look at most of the colors of the Geles, they are sea or river colored. The whole bluish kind of thing. At least the majority of them before the fashionistas got hold of it. All right. And then the Oshun, it's different. You know what I mean? The parrot feathers we use for initiations. The parrot feathers for the Oshun is basically sacred, and they'll have Gele. So, it's all representations. It's all symbolic. These are specifics for that specific society, for those specific worshipers. Because you have to kind of understand that, as we stated, a little earlier, like you got Ogun state, Oshun state, the Orisha aren't as meshed together in the old world as they had to become in the new world. Okay, under the syncretism systems. Okay, so you can have the Yemoja people over here, and they're moved by their colors, their numbers, their ways of worship that have absolutely nothing to do with the Oshun people. Nothing. So it's not like everybody's in one Ile, which is kind of what we deal with in the new world. Okay, so that's the greater, or dare I say, the greatest level of importance that I would have to share. Okay, so Oshun women decorate, they got the cowrie shells and all that, but got to remember the importance of Oshun as in divination with the Marindi Lagoon. So it's also very symbolic and specific to that. I say society, or to that group or cohort, or those worshipers, so that they recognize each other and they are recognized by others. Okay, and again, we aren't as meshed together as we had to be during the Ma'afa.
Not sure. Yeah.
That answers your question.
Cool. Appreciate you, Baba. And so with that, family, that's gonna be the last one because I gotta get ready to roll and get ready for tomorrow, as well as Baba, I'm pretty sure, is back to work too. But shout out to the whole tribe, man. We had a full house tonight, man, and a lot of love, a lot of support, new members again. We appreciate y'all, family. And Wale and T Wriggles, I screenshotted both of y'all's questions. So what I'll do is I'll pose them by Baba, and I'll either be able to post the responses in the community tab on the Aje channel, or I'll hold them until the next live stream we do, and then we'll touch on those just to make sure that we get them answered for y'all too, because I definitely do my best to try to bring all the questions to the floor so everybody gets the opportunity to ask their questions. But due to time constraints, we got to shut it down. But I already screenshotted it. I'll definitely get those questions answered. So whether we post them in the community tab, or we'll bring them back up on the next live stream, which we will post that when we schedule the next one. We'll get those questions answered for y'all. So yeah, with that, Baba, you got anything you want to leave the tribe on the way out?
Yeah. Again, Peace and blessings. All right. And let's deal with reciprocity, and then let's understand that we're building an institution. When it's not chat. It's all good. Okay. But these mark, the foundations for the Elay, if you will, for the institution that we are constructing, be it virtual or concrete. It is a matter of mindset. Okay. And we're going to keep working on it. And what we're asking for is, the coming together of our people, the gap. Okay.
Sure.
Make a difference in this world. Okay. We just don't want to change the world. We need to remake it.
Sure. No, that's what's up. No, I appreciate y'all, family. I appreciate y'all understanding T and Wale. One love to y'all, both of y'all, all of y'all actually tried. And yeah, man, I'm definitely not gonna try to go in after that. But the only thing I'm gonna say is that we got a lot coming, a lot in store. I'm looking forward to bringing it to you all, family, and then as well as the entrepreneurship, coaching. I'm working on putting together programs for us for content creation, for marketing, for branding, for starting businesses, scaling businesses, all that good stuff, man. So we definitely we got a lot in store, because that's what we're here for. We're here now, so we're here to build. Each one teach one. United we stand, divided we fall. And yeah, man, shout out to everybody who showed up tonight, showed love. We appreciate every single one of y'all, as always. And so with that, we'll see y'all on the next episode, man. So this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisagbemi. Shout out to our distinguished community elder, Oloye Baba IFA Karade. I appreciate you, Baba. Ashe. All right, family. So we'll see y'all on the next one. Don't forget to please like, share, subscribe, and also join the free Patreon. It's on the channel. We have a free tier for the Patreon as well, and then we also got the higher tiers. But man, we appreciate the love and support, family. So yeah, hit the Patreon, join that for free. You'll get access to other, behind the scenes content, as well as the opportunities to find out and be in the know for what all's coming up for Aje and the OGC Institute. So with that, appreciate you, family. We'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a great night, and we are out. Peace. Odabo.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́, tẹ́ntẹ́ ní takisá ní tàtàn, ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ, ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and pray.